Yes, yes, yes. Welcome back to another episode of Leading Crypto. I'm your host, CBO, joined with Burr Max, as always. Magic Internet Money may be popping in here in a bit. But otherwise, we are going to take a look at the weekly roundup, right? So we're coming into weekend price action, weekend volume, things of that nature. Always a little bit of a wild card, but just kind of going to take a look at the levels for what they are, where we are, and overlook on how things progressed through the week here. So pretty much just going to take a brief little casual overview, Bitcoin, Ethereum. If you guys like our content we provide for you daily, we come to around 10 to 12 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. So be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Aside from that, we jump right into the TA. So Max, would you like to go ahead and just kick us off, my friend?
Sure. So I'll just go quickly over some levels on TradingView that I've got my eyes on for longs specifically, and we can go over the move. So let me go over the move that we had down first. So we had a move down, since yesterday, and I was expecting us to get more of a bounce from this region. We had a golden pocket there, and we did actually come down to a lower golden pocket, which I was looking at this one. Let me pull it from this low to the high. I'm not that one. Let me pop it up there though. I was looking at this one. We didn't really get any bounce from it, but I noticed that I believe Magic called this one out the day before. You actually came right back down to the 618. So I got stopped out of my trade, is what it is. Then overnight you came back down to the lower golden pocket had you pulled it from here. You didn't quite come up to the Q2 low, but I'll tell you how you can get into a short at that point. And if we zoom in, you can see you had. Now, I would say this isn't the best swing failure pan, but it's been resistant to this level. So if we're drawing effectively the month equilibrium, if we pop a line on the chart here, there we are. It's been resistance and support here, or basically resistance there and resistance there. Now you came up on, if you're looking at weak breakouts, at this point here, you had an attempt and it had 10 million volume. Granted, the open interest was negative, but it's the volume which I want to draw your eyes to and the delta. You had a lot of volume there, I say a lot, 10 million and 7 million positive delta. And on the second attempt of it, the volume came right down and so did the delta. And you really had no reason to be trading that as a breakout to that level. I mean, it wasn't really like a level you would trade a breakout from, but the fact it had been resistance a couple of times, it kind of signaled, this isn't the strongest break. And you also had positions changing hands. Must be said, very small amount. It was only, the delta was only 1.3 and its open interest was negative 400k. Small amount, but it was visible, and it's something that you should always be looking for in the charts. And it gave you an SFP. So you came up, kind of identified the fact you had positions changing hands coming into the level. And then you got the move out, delta switched up. Granted, open interest wasn't quite there, but you had the delta switch up, and you had some negative percentage candles on the volume chart. You also, as the move away actually really begun, you had more heavy selling delta coming in. You can see the imbalances here and here. And that was just kind of a very low risk trade one could have taken. I've been stopped out a couple of times in the last few days, so I'll admit I took this trade, but not as large position size as I would have liked for what occurred, because there's no real way that one could have spotted this huge drop happening in the way that it did. The fact you kind of didn't come up and tap that second quarterly low, you just front ran it, took the SFP, and we got the dump out of it. Just before, you can see you had some more interesting candles, which kind of in the drop, you can see kind of had an interesting open interest on that candle. Stagnant, yet the delta was really negative. And I'm not going to draw too much from that just because of how far down we came after that. I think maybe someone was trying to fill a bag below the lows and they just got pushed straight out. And you can spot by all the liquidations that we had on the way down, because we had stagnating open interest followed by a huge drop off. Whoever was in limit buying here, they certainly got wrecked on the way down. All day I've been looking at this price to try and see if it's accumulation, and really can't say that it is. So if we're expecting a quick bounce up, I don't think it's going to happen to a way that this little downtrend that we've got gets reversed. Some levels to really bring your eyes upon are, well, initially this single print starting at 17,087 and going. Again, adding these together. This is just where our candle is closed, then continued on to the next one. I like to make them on big one. It's not that really in the theory of how you do it, but it makes no sense to me why you would just be like, oh, this is two separate single prints. It's just a candle closed and it continued. It's still an inefficiency on the chart effectively. But that one goes right up to 17,312. So that's a big single print. It's just over a percentage. And we can start to really look at how we've reacted at that level. If I expand this, you can see we came up, we actually jumped into a little bit, but then did reject. It really needs to get back above and into here to really come up and challenge some of them higher levels. Where am I really looking at for short? Well, to be honest with you, it needs to claim the weekly open, which is what I'm now thinking about as the single print. So if we can get above there with some, conviction. We've also got the monthly open in this region, but I would be looking. Let me hide this golden pocket for now. In fact, we delete it because it's irrelevant. I'd be looking for these PVAs to get closed, and also you could come right up to the golden pocket. So I'm pulling this from the impulse right up to the golden pocket, which would reject us from the previous day low. What was once support can become resistance. It lines up nicely with the golden pocket. It's an area to have in your mind. Longs, well, like I said, claim the weekly open. You have to be aware of the monthly open. I don't have it on this chart, but it's in this region, which is a possibility. Your stop loss will be higher at that point now. Just below us, we have a daily and untapped, which is untapped, and a naked point of control from back on the 8th of December. So, if we're going to come down, take the current weekly low, this week's low. One can trade it as a swing failure pattern, and it's a bounce from a strong level of support. You've got a few confluences there. You've got the daily untapped and the naked point of control. Now, if we lose that, we have a bigger golden pocket on the previous month naked point of control. Certainly one to keep your eye on, and this gold pocket is pulled from the low that we currently have right up to the high. So it's a big level that we want to hold. Loss of that, well, you can look down to the other untapped dailies, but it's really not going to look good if we do start to lose that region. So that's kind of my must hold region on the chart. I think Magic would say you need to hold these lows, but this is the level that I'm kind of thinking if we don't get a bounce from here, well, maybe I need to really think about jumping in a hedge for a while here. But this is the level that I'm looking for a potential bounce, if not this one. And that's kind of where my head is at with the current price action. Not really too much to say from what we've currently got on the order flow down here. We had an SFP, wasn't the best. You had no stagnating open interest. It was more of just a volume spike, and you get traded as a candle closure. But now you're coming back into the level as you rejected from the single prints. It's not really giving us any clear signs as to which way we're going to go here. But the fact that you've made your way back into this little mini range, it's not the best. So I would be expecting that naked point of control and untapped daily to get hit at this point. And that's kind of where my head is at, CBO. It's only 10 minutes, so it's a quick one, and I apologize.
No, that's perfect, man. Yeah, and then let's see. Sweeping over to take a look at ETH here. So I don't know if you just mentioned it too, but we did pretty much just reject off weekly open for Bitcoin also, essentially.
Yeah, just that, yeah.
Pretty much where we just came up to. So, all right. So beautiful when Bitcoin and Ethereum kind of line up in some certain areas, right? So we'll take a look at how this week progressed a bit with Ethereum specifically, right? So, obviously we had, came out of a certain area. We were over the weekend, I think we had just pushed up to, what was it, 1280, right? That was because I remember taking profit on a long on Saturday. It must have been right here. Yeah, because we pushed up. This was the previous week. Opened at the time. We pushed up. We had an NPOC right here. So yeah, this was Saturday the 10th. So I closed along here on Ethereum. Entered long again back in this region, but we went with Bitcoin instead. And both of those, both Bitcoin and Ethereum walking into this week, both had a lot of time, which aligned with a certain area, as well as you had the news catalyst coming up. And then we were also anticipating, while we were holding certain areas, to meet our statistical targets of our monthly key levels here, right? So both for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin was 18K, Ethereum was 1348. All right, so we came into that on CPI, right? The CPI day. The plan in play was essentially the SFP, right? We were looking for potentially taking out this high on top of the high from back here, November 10th, right? Which was basically 1351. Personally, I was looking for a little bit more of a push higher and then come back down and close to kind of give me that trigger to take the short at that point. And just to be fair, I did not take this short, sadly. It just wasn't there. I wasn't like watching it at that exact moment. And this move is so fast. The back test of that next candle was really, the trigger essentially. But at that point, like I said, it was just too fast, and I was okay with just missing that first portion. I did look for the back test of the daily open right here when we had that yesterday. This was also basically back test of previous week value area high, right? So this had a decent amount of confluence. You lost the VWAP as well. And then I took it down to golden pocket, I believe, yesterday. So from there, I actually flipped long. I was looking to actually bring this up a little higher. Came into, once again, you just get new information every single day, right? So you kind of have to, take care of your position along the way there. The overall idea here is still very much down, right? So this was the high in play. The target of this coming back down was the golden pocket, which is just basically where we have come down to almost in our untapped daily, but just kind of walking you down the price action from where we were looking at in the group. Daily pivot was the one, right? Like obviously looking back now, like this was a TP for me, and then I got stopped out after. So I was looking to take this up a little higher, did not get it. Fine. Did not enter this short either, though. So just to be fair there. So at this point, if for me, what I'm looking for is overall, I would anticipate we're coming lower, right? More than likely, I think we're actually going to make our way down to potentially down towards our untapped monthly, untapped daily down here that been on about for some time, right? The untapped daily at $1,038 on Bybit, $1,031 on Coinbase. And effectively taking pretty much all the lows here. And realistically, this little this level, if we come down to it, is more of a range that does breach down to like basically $1,000, right? You have the potential to go in a little bit sub 1,000, and then we'd want to see that reclaimed for the upside. That is one of the major targets I'm looking at now. How do we get there is the question. We are pretty oversold on a lot of if you're looking at indicators and things of that nature. We've had a pretty decent move down. And very similar to Bitcoin, right? We just rejected off of week open on Bitcoin, and we just rejected now off of the previous week low for Ethereum. Both Bitcoin and Ethereum have local golden pockets and untapped dailies just below, about 4% away on both of them. So, when you start to see the two of those kind of align, it's going to, potentially offer up a decent bounce opportunity. So from here, I would imagine, that we'd probably get a decent little run potentially over the weekend. And if not, maybe as we walk into Monday, it's really something that you'll have to really monitor. Obviously, the move was definitely the short from the monthly key level. Like I said, I personally didn't even get in on this, sadly. But yeah, definitely going to be looking for, bounce opportunities at the untapped daily here, which is just below us now at 1167. You have a gold pocket here as well, 1170, 1179. And then losing that region, I would fully anticipate seeing this 1038 once and for all, right? So coming down in this area as well, like, when you start talking about, looking at this as a whole, very similar to Bitcoin, right? So we'll take a look at Bitcoin. What did we end up doing over here? Right. So for anyone trading in this time frame, I'm just going to check this off. It's a little sloppy here, as you can see, but anybody trading in this time frame, pretty much ever since the FTX drop, if anybody had been shorting, right, really far away to put a stop loss above here, but basically we came up and we took, literally all the highs. Came back down, closed below. So that was the SFP there for Bitcoin. Didn't have as wide of a push high for Ethereum. That was the only thing that kind of stopped me up personally, because I was looking literally for like at least $5 more higher, and it just shot down too quick. But you did something like that, and then you get the move underway. So you stopped out effectively anybody in that. Also, you trapped in a lot of new longs, because what did we do? We broke the previous high over here. So when you do that, people start breakout traders are looking at this possible cup and handles and rounded bottoms, and open new long positions here, literally at the high, right? And you see the same as we come down to certain areas. You come back down, take the lows before you actually get a decent move back up. So looking at this, you got this untapped daily down here, which I really have to imagine, we're going to see this at some point here shortly. And the different, like the big, the determining factor on that, the turnaround on this is, once again, really starting to live back above 12, 20, conclusively is one big one. But now at this point, you really have to clear above this, monthly key level here. So, in the short term, right, we've got the daily here that we're paying attention for, see how it kind of bounces, granted after that. Then you do have this one down here. It does basically come over to this area. And I say it's a region, more so like down to 1,000, because you do have, this wick essentially down. But you got both wicks right here. So essentially, like, same deal. If anybody's, trying to long the market or anything like that, or been long, this is one of those times where, for a few months, if you had gotten in this region, because once again, nobody's really longing, and not nobody, but most people are not longing from the exact lows, right? So most people got into this region and you started longing, whatever. This was back before we even had the 25K run up for Bitcoin. And, these people probably were in really nice profit, right, along the way. This was like an 80% move. So this is one of those times where you see a lot of people have really nice gains. They're getting really, comfortable. They're starting to show their screenshots, only to really realistically give it pretty much all the way back up. Maybe this is where people started entering at. You still got the stop loss down here. You got another push higher. Still nobody's really taking profits, more than likely, because now they've already seen these profits. They want to get back to this region. Maybe they'll break, back into that where they saw their portfolio one day, only to now, really risk just literally giving it all back up. So we do have a pretty nice little area down here. And you can call it whatever you want. You can call it the liquidity grab, whatever the case may be. But it's targets nonetheless. The untapped daily is a big one, but that's not to say that we're just going to turn around right at 1,038. And you might not turn around at all, right? Like, it's one of those things where we come down here, we really got to monitor the reaction. But I have to imagine it's going to at least offer up a bounce opportunity. Take these lows right here. But essentially, coming down to this region would be big. This is the 886 of the overall move down. Move up right here. And that does put us at 1,005, 1,009, and right at that psychological level everybody, is really on about. And, coming down to this region and doing one of these little deals. Let's just say we take this daily today. We get a nice little back test. You get a golden pocket up here. Next rejection takes us down. And, we push lower to like 950 or something, right? The straight nuke through. This is why, you can't, it's hard to preset for some of these things, because a lot of times you do just get a straight nuke. And for example, if you're looking at that target, that could potentially be 5-6%, basically stop you out of the trade or put you really underwater right away, and get you sweating. What you really want to look for in this case would be this whole deal, right? Come back up, claim the 1,038. Essentially you'd miss out on capturing that 5%. But this would give you a little bit more confluence and confirmation that, we're kind of, take this back up a little bit here. So that's what I'm looking for, kind of heading into, realistically next week. Christmas week has had a decent amount of time, at least for me, as I've been looking at some of the things here, Ethereum being one of them. So if we get this move into next week, that's going to be pretty, exciting, I suppose. But we'll see how it goes in that sense. But I did just want to kind of bring up that idea. It's definitely on the table as we kind of made our way down to these regions. This move right here, once again, completely, as Max would say, gutted that I couldn't take the short, because this was, this was always meant to be a really nice move, right? 13, 14, 15%. That was a big one, right? So, but it's okay. Looking for the next one, right? So, like I said, back tested the weekly low, right as Bitcoin back tested the weekly open. Both have gold pockets, untapped dailies. Bitcoin's got a naked point control. All kind of stacked along the same percentage areas from each other. Two of them tend to move together pretty well. So this area is, potentially going to offer up a decent little bounce opportunity. Leading into the weekend is always like I said, the wild card. So we'll have to see how things kind of progress there. Looking at the higher time frame range that we've been living in for quite some time. Talk about 1221 all the time, right? So this is the Coinbase chart. So it varies a little bit here and there. Like I said, that untapped daily we were just discussing is 1031 on Coinbase. So it's 1038 on Bybit. Bybit's where we trade. So I tend to go off of that more than anything. But yeah, starting to lose this level here. So you can see how important this has been just over the last few weeks. If not, you go back and see how it's been over the last several months. This is actually from June. So there's been a lot of resistance right here, flipped it as support, and we've really been tinkering around with it right now. So 1221 to 1224, give or take, is a pretty big area. But yeah, start losing that. You got that untapped daily just below us now at 11. I don't have it marked on here, but it's 1167, I believe. But the big one is really still, to me, this is a big target of mine, 1031, 1038. 1038. So we'll see how things kind of progress there. But unfortunately, Magic couldn't join us today, but that's all right. We pretty much covered everything pretty extensively this week. If you haven't seen us on our channel, Magic covered Bitcoin, DXY, S&P 500 on Sin City Crypto on the FOMC meeting day with Gareth Soloway. So be sure to give that a view if you haven't already. Magic was on Debate Crypto last night. I was on Debate Crypto on Monday. We kind of go all over the place here. So sorry, Max, I was trying to pull up our YouTube channel. But aside from that, just a Friday weekly little roundup here. So going to see how things kind of unfold here. So if anybody's interested in joining the Leading Crypto Discord server, where you have access to all of our analysis, trade updates, our 14 video, the step-by-step academy, things of that nature, you can join that down below. We also do have a new website if you're interested in checking it out. So that is leadingcrypto.io. All right. Here you can, if you're an existing member, you can log in with your Leading Crypto Discord, get access to the academy. Otherwise, kind of gives you a little rundown of what we offer here, a little description of videos in the academy as well. You got some referrals down there. And if you're interested in joining, we are offering for the rest of this month, if you come down to the monthly area, hit subscribe, and you put in the promotion code BTC22, it's going to save you half off the first month. So for $29, you get full access to everything we have to offer. Give it a try for a month. If it's not right for you, obviously feel free to cancel. Other than that, that's about all we have for everybody. So I really hope you enjoy your weekend. We're going to, walk into, I think next weekend is Christmas time. So yeah, we should have a full week of updates and things like that, because I think Christmas is on Sunday. So just enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your weekend over there too, Max. How's things over there, man? Is it still beautiful as ever?
Yeah, it's a great temperature now. It's the best time of the year. It's cool, but in the night, but it's hot when you're in the sun. It's the best temperature. No place better to be.
Yeah, Florida's getting a cold front, man. It's like 70 degrees, which off the top of my head, I don't know what that is in yours, but yeah, it's not cold by any means, but it's cold for the Floridians for sure, I guess. But awesome. Well, take care, everybody. Till next time, enjoy your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are on this beautiful world, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.